And so thank you so much for participating. We'll begin the interview. Essentially, this is sort of a three-part interview. The first being logistic. The first segment is, discussing logistics. The second, organizational assimilation, and the third, job satisfaction. So we'll begin now. And
Okay.
begin with the first question, which is essentially, which corporate function do you work in, and what type of work do you do?
I work in human resources, more specifically inclusion, diversity, and equity.
Okay, awesome. And is that in your role, is it more like a strategic role? What kind of work do you do specifically with that?
I'm sorry, say that last part again.
I'm just trying to understand what type of work you do within that space.
Sure. So yeah, it is part strategic, and then I'd say other parts like facilitating trainings and also creating inclusion programs.
Got it. Awesome. Okay. And then, so what are some of the things that attracted you to your employer, if you can think back?
So I knew a few people from my previous company who worked there, and they had all very positive things to say. And then I also met someone who worked in the inclusion, diversity, and equity space who had been at the company for like 30 plus years. And so I felt like had a good reputation. And when I was looking to switch companies, I was looking for a company that I would be able to have some longevity with, and really was looking for opportunities for career development and growth. And from all the people that I knew there, they all said that that particular company offered those types of opportunities. So that is what initially attracted me.
Got it. Okay. And then, understanding the line of work you're in, so this may seem like a silly question for you, but are you aware of any diversity and inclusion initiatives at your current place of work? And if so, can you just state a few of them maybe?
Yeah, we actually have a lot. So we focus on equity in terms of performance equity, pay equity. Internal mobility is one of our big focuses for this year and moving forward. And we also are focused on anti-racism, so providing resources for people to be more aware of the experiences of others who are different from them, and encouraging our leaders to have conversations with their teams about race, ethnicity, and gender. And there are a host of others, but I would say those are the main ones.
Awesome. Okay. And then, what is in sort of knowing all those things, like what does inclusion mean to you?
For me, inclusion means, despite your differences, being able to feel like you have a sense of belonging in the workplace, since that's what we're focused on. And just feeling like your voice is going to be heard, your opinions are going to matter, and that you're able to contribute just as any other person would.
Got it. Okay. And then, do you currently feel included or that you belong at your current employer?
I do. I have been at my company for almost 2 years now. And from day one, I felt like people were very open and receptive to me, and have just essentially pulled me into the business, and then also just getting to know people. So I do feel included.
Got it. Okay. And so we've sort of covered the content. Now we'll talk a bit about organizational assimilation. Would you happen to know what that is? If not, I'll give you a little bit.
I do not.
Okay. So organizational assimilation is essentially that sort of introduction to the company, or from the company to the new hire. So the expectations of norms, cultural values, core values, expectations, things of that sort. And thus it becomes a partnership essentially, or it should become a partnership where organization is allowing for the employee to also exchange those values, and sort of letting them set expectations as well. So, in knowing that piece, what could that mean for you and your experiences at your current employer?
Um, so I feel like I was given a good introduction into the organization um, when I joined. It's a requirement for you to do several trainings and things again, just to learn about the organization itself, the business that we do. And then also encouraged to join our, I guess you could call them extracurricular activities with our business resource groups, which are employee led groups, and also our volunteer opportunities. And so I have done those things. And then we also have essentially a program with, someone, in some cases, it's someone in your own area, or it could be somebody in a different area, just again to help you get acclimated to the organization itself. So I feel like they did a good job. There are still things that I'm learning about the company, but again, people are, it's just a welcoming, friendly organization in
Got it. Okay.
general.
Okay. And then so you touched a bit on this, but so your first 90 days, what did that look like? I know you mentioned that there was, a ton of trainings. Do you think there was follow through, or do you feel like, it was sort of on your own? Like,
Hello?
what do you, yes, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. I'm sorry.
Okay,
I had a phone call
not
that
a,
tried to came through, and then I pulled out and my Wi-Fi switched over to my data on my cell service. So sorry about that.
not a problem. Um, and so I was just saying that you touched on it a bit, about your first 90 days. However, and you mentioned, that there was training within your first 90 days, or sort of what did that look like? Was there follow through, or do you feel like you were just sort of put out on your own, or like what were your experiences?
Some people were business partners, other people were just people again to help me get acclimated to the organization, so that I would have, somebody familiar I could go to if I had any questions, that were non-work related, I guess you could say it, or at least business area related. And then I also had check-ins with my manager just to make sure we were tracking against the 90-day plan.
Okay. Awesome. And then, do you identify with any of your organization's core values? If so, if you could just explain, maybe two of them or how you identify with them.
Sure. So one of the ones that resonates most with me is value our people. My organization truly does put us as individuals first. So we have tons of wellness initiatives. We're encouraged to take time off. We have essentially unlimited PTO. That's not what it is called, but that's essentially what it is. And so we're encouraged to use that to make sure that, we're taking care of ourselves. We're not, being burnt out, or, if we have family responsibilities or what have you. And then another one is act with integrity.
Okay.
And just making sure that, you are doing things in a way that is fair. Also, the others that or partnering with, and then that also includes the clients that we serve.
Okay. All right. And last question of this segment is, do you feel that you were assimilated similar to your peers? So as a woman, as a Black woman, do you feel that you were assimilated similar to your peers?
Um, I do. My manager just happened to be Black. Several people on my team, especially with me being on the team that I am, the inclusion, diversity, and equity team, I feel like we all pretty much had the same experience. And so for people, whether they have been there for, you know, 30 plus years or even just newer like myself, I feel like the process is similar in terms of getting you acclimated to the organization.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So that was the last question of that segment. Now we'll move into the last segment, which is on job satisfaction. So the first question is essentially, are you satisfied at your current employer? Why or why not? And then,
I am.
and
I'm sorry. Was there?
just
Sorry.
the follow-up question, just because I know you're sort of in transit, is, your top three reasons why you feel satisfied or not. So we can tie those together where you can just sort of, let me know your top three reasons for why you're satisfied or not.
Yes. So I'm actually very satisfied with my organization. I have never worked for an organization again that puts their people first, where we're encouraged to take care of ourselves. Um, and for me, that's really important. We do, on my team specifically, do weekly check-ins with one another just to see how we're all feeling, or to see if there's additional support we can provide to one another. I would also say the benefits that we have, including that unlimited PTO, is a huge benefit or perk. And then I would also say the people there, again, just being welcomed from day one, and continuing to have that experience. even though I've been with the organization now for almost 2 years, there are still, things that I'm learning. And my teammates, even people outside of my team, are just always willing to answer questions or help me out. So I greatly appreciate that. Um, and I don't necessarily have anything that I am unsatisfied with my organization.
Okay.
I hope to actually retire from there if things continue to go as they have been going.
Got it. Okay. Okay. And then, so following up, um, are you involved? You spoke a little bit about this a little bit earlier, but so are you involved in any activities sort of within your organization, but outside of your work? So those volunteer things that you sort of mentioned before.
hmm so I am a part of a couple of our business resource groups. Um, that I am active within. So, helping to plan programs, and then also just attending meetings. Uh, but being that I am in the work function that I am in, a lot of those things are already kind of ingrained in my role. So I don't do as much as maybe an associate outside of my work group. But there are a couple of groups that I've personally signed up for and do help, again, with the planning of their programs and meetings.
Got it. Okay. And so then are you involved in, are you aware, I guess, of any mentorship opportunities at your current place of work? And if so, are you involved?
Yeah, so we have a few different mentoring opportunities. So we have mentoring opportunities through those business resource groups. We also have mentoring opportunities through the different lines of business. And we're also currently working on a formal sponsorship program where it goes a little bit beyond the mentoring piece, and you're actually matched up with somebody who can advocate for you when a new role becomes available, maybe not even within your own work group but in another area of the company, but that particular sponsor has either oversight of or awareness of. So we do we encourage people to participate in those. I'm not personally in any of those programs. Again, kind of with my work function, I help out with um, managing the programs a little bit
Mhm.
or coming up with the strategic plan for them. So um, yeah, I do have informal mentors, but I'm not part of a formal mentoring program.
Okay. And can you speak a little bit more on those informal mentors for me?
Sure. So one of them happens to be a leader on my team who without me even, initiating a relationship uh, for mentoring, she just offered to. And I've had a few other people within human resources do the same for me.
Okay.
So anytime there's work related things that I may be unfamiliar with that I haven't done before, whether it's coming up with a new strategy for something, or it's just questions about being more efficient or more organized, those are people that I can go to who have been with the organization for a while, but who are also further along in their career journey than I am.
Got it. Okay. Awesome. All right. And our last question is kind of three parts, but it sort of ties everything together. So, what are your personal slash professional goals, if you will?
um so I would say my professional goals are to continue growing and learning in this space of inclusion, diversity, and equity. I feel like it's ever evolving. And so I just want to make sure that I continue to stay at the forefront of the different I guess you could say topics or areas that fall or subject matters that fall within this space. And then also just to continue working in inclusion, diversity, and equity. I feel like this is not just work that I enjoy doing, but work that I was meant to do. I feel like I have a purpose in doing it. And so I'm hoping that, just I can continue to stay in this space and continue to grow within the space, whether that ends up being a chief diversity officer one day, or even just being a leader within the team. That's fine for me.
Awesome.
And then in terms of personal goals, just continuing to do, the things that I enjoy doing in life, and being able to be supportive and encouraging of others.
Okay. Okay. And then do you feel supported by your organization by these goals?
I do. It's funny, when I first started, probably within the first, I don't know, month or so of me being there, my team leader asked me what my career goals were and how she could help me achieve them. And I was like, what? I've never had anybody ask me that question in a work setting. So and she means it, and so have my managers that I've had there. So we're definitely encouraged and supported in going after the things that we want to do work wise or career wise.
Okay. Awesome. And then just the last question is, do you feel that you're making progress with your goals?
Progress in terms of what?
Just however, what that means to you. Just do you feel like, you are progressing towards becoming that chief diversity officer or continuing to learn? Like, do you feel like there's progress being made currently?
Yes, absolutely. I feel like my team leaders have a vested interest in me, and again are encouraging of my career growth. And so there have been a number of times where I've been selected to lead, special projects or assignments, and also have been promoted already within my tenure at the organization. And so I do feel like I'm on the right track to essentially reach those career goals that I do have.
Got it. Okay. Well, essentially, that's all I have for you. Unless there's anything you'd like to bring up, specifically on how your organization or what your organization is doing to retain women. I think we've covered all the questions that I have for you. If you don't have anything more,
Nope, I can speak to that though, if you'd like me to.
if you could brief,
Um,
that would be,
yeah,
yep.
yep. So we recently conducted a broken rung analysis, essentially, based on a study by McKinsey called Women in the Workplace.
Hmm.
And what we did was we essentially looked at all of our associates, but we're more focused on women and underrepresented minorities, just to see, one, how long they've been with the organization, and two, how many um, mobility moves they've had, whether that be lateral or upward. And then trying to understand at what level were people kind of essentially leveling out and they weren't seeing any upward mobility. And those are the people that we are focused on for our sponsorship program, so
Hmm.
that they can essentially have that advocate for them who will help to push them or guide them into a higher role or higher level
Got it.
role.
Okay. Sponsorship opportunity to help. Okay. Oh, that's great. Well, again, thank you so much, Casey. I truly appreciate your time this morning and your flexibility. I will certainly, be in touch. However, again, just